Welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep. I'm your host, Grace Helbig. We have a repeat guest, but just an all-around wonderful human being with us today. An actress, a comedian, an actual professional dancer, and an all-around just excellent human being. NIKKI GLASER is back with us on this episode of Not Too Deep. And you know what? We found out a lot about threesomes this episode. I don't want to spoil anything, but listen and watch all the way through to the end because it somehow aspirationally ended with the idea of wanting a threesome.
Not too deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by our buddies at Squarespace, who want you to know that you can turn your great idea into a reality with Squarespace. Squarespace makes it easier than ever to launch your passion project, whether you're showcasing your work or selling products of any kind. With beautiful templates and the ability to customize just about anything, you can easily make a beautiful website yourself. And if you do get stuck, Squarespace's 24/7 award-winning customer support is there to help. So head to squarespace.com/grace for your free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Not too deep. Not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
Woo-woo! NIKKI GLASER! Welcome back to Not Too
Thank
Deep.
you.
I'm so excited that you're here.
For having me back.
So I was just telling you, I'm super obsessed with your Sirius XM show, You Up with NIKKI GLASER.
Thank you.
And I only got recently introduced to it like in the last 2 months, I think. And I get tired doing 2 podcasts like once a week, and you do 2 hours every day.
Yeah, 2 hours every It's Monday through Thursday. Yeah.
And you've been doing it for a full year?
It's coming up on a year now. Yeah.
Okay. How has that been? Because just hearing this makes me tired.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or is it just like a muscle that you've exercised
I think
so
it's the
much?
same thing. I like doing a podcast. I used to do podcasts all the time, like weekly ones. And it felt like a chore most of the time, like a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And was very overwhelming at times. But this is just every morning. It like has to be.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I have to show up. It's not even, I like have a boss. I feel like I'm not making myself do it. And I feel like when you do your own podcast, it always feels like you got to do it yourself.
You're self-motivating, and this actually gives you routine and structure.
Yes,
which
people are depending on me a lot.
Maybe that's what I'm jealous of, that I crave.
I have a contract.
Yeah. You have people you have to show up for,
Yeah.
and legalities in which have to be fulfilled.
I almost like that. It's the first time in my life as a adult having like a regular gig, like that you show up to every day. I mean, I've had shows before but for a year solid, like my shows have always been canceled before they made it a whole year. So I've never been like every day in the office for a whole year. And it's like, I like the consistency of it. And it's good to be like there's no other place where I can talk so much and get so good at broadcasting.
Yeah, but also the coolest thing about it is how candid you can be. Because I think that's what really, when I first started listening to it, I was like, holy shit, she's talking about everything and anything that's in her head or in her co-host's or guest's head, and they're really not holding back. And it must be nice to have that freedom to be able to kind of like exercise those thoughts.
Yes.
But also it must be a little, I want to ask about, have there been shows that you regret revealing so much? Because you guys fucking go there.
Yeah.
And it's great because you get to know you very quickly. And
I know,
I
don't know what is wrong with me.
No, I think there's probably a therapy in it. There
is. And I'm like not seeing a therapist right now. So it's really bad. Like now's the time to start listening to my show, because once I get a therapist, she's going to set better boundaries for me with what I say on air. But right now I have no one checking me.
Yeah.
And I need to get it out. And you know what I like about it is that it's live. So once I say it, it's done and it's out there. When I do podcasts, I tend to reveal more.
Yeah.
Because I know that I can always take it out later, which I don't. And then I just say more.
Sure.
And then it's worse. So I've had more backlash and more residual bad things happen in relationships because of things I've said on podcasts more than the live show every day. And I kind of went into it having to be like, NIKKI, what are you going to save? Mm-hmm. What is sacred to you? And I decided nothing. And so I
think is liberating in a way, because I really relate to it, because I'm at an age, I'm 33 now, where I'm like, fuck it. Like, I've been very reserved in how much I say about like my personal experiences in my life. And I, at this point, don't care to be that reserved because there's some sort of relatability and there's some sort of like, I don't know, there's just a niceness in hearing someone else is going through something as ridiculous, if not more ridiculous than something you've been through.
Yes.
And so that candidness is just refreshing to me, even if it seems gross or like blunt, but it's like, that's great because there's this whole stigma that when you're like a blonde woman and you say you're a hot mess, that people are like, you're not really a hot mess. And you're like, let me tell you the ways.
Let me tell you how gross it gets. And the thing is, Grace, like I do hold back some things.
You do.
And so it's like, it gets grosser. And I want everyone to know that whatever you think, like I've said what I'm capable of, how
That's
gross
what
I am.
Season 2 is called. It gets grosser.
It gets gross. Like it gets, there's things as you were talking, I was like, okay, I do hold that back because I think about the same things. Like when I hear women talk so candidly about things that I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe she's admitting that.
Yeah.
It's always such a relief. It is I've never felt judgment on them.
No,
I've never like
felt
gross.
I've never felt like they're doing something wrong, and nor have I ever felt embarrassed for them.
No.
I've just been like, this is the strongest woman I've ever heard. There's something very, very admirable about this.
Well, you know what? I had who was in Paris Hilton walked into studio one day. It was amazing.
I'm gonna get into your Instagram story, which I'm obsessed with. But
thank you.
I saw this on your story, but
we got her in studio. She wasn't even like planning on being a guest. I just like saw her in the hallway and I was like, oh my God, that's Paris Hilton. Like I love her. I just love her because I've like, you always like someone that you're like closest and maybe looking to. So if you blur your eyes across the room, like I could be like when she was like fresh on the scene, I was like young and like I could have gotten there, you know? And I can do like a good impression where she's just like, that's hot. Like I was always like kind of into her. And so I saw her and I'm like, I didn't even know she was going to be here today. Like she's walking into Andy Cohen's studio, which is right across so it's like right next to ours. And so, and I'm freaking out. And then we grabbed her and she came in we like were texting the talent department trying to get like, can we get her for a second? Can she just say hi? Can she get a picture with me? Like I'm just a huge fan. And she was so cool. She wanted to come in right away because she saw I was like freaking out. Yeah. And then she was like, we'll be back, babe. And then she left and she came back and like, we thought she was just going to be in for a couple minutes and she stayed the whole segment till the end. She was just like so chill and just really, I could tell that I didn't want to push it too hard, but I could tell that I could have broed down with her pretty hard and because she was more open than I thought she would be. And I just like in the moment I had to be like, what do I want to know about Paris Hilton? Like I was like trying to think because we had one break and I was like, I know she's probably going to come in. And I was like, she's just so unabashedly like, I'm hot and I'm putting my body out there and I'm like, I know I'm hot. And like, I just am not comfortable with that. And I admire it. I secretly wish I were as comfortable with it like that. And so I asked her, I was just like, because this is the thing that I can like talk about my vagina and talk about how gross my eating habits have been and currently are and like reveal things that are so embarrassing. But like for me to post a picture that's like,
which is unironically like I'm feeling myself.
Yes. Just owning it like they do, like Emily Ratajkowski, like when they're just like, I'm sex. And you're just like, you are sex. But the thing is, Grace, you're so sex. Like you could do those photos and carry it and people would be like, whoa. And you do sometimes like you see it come out with you. I've seen it. You're sneaky sex.
On vice versa.
You got it big time. And
I know on occasion, and then I literally sit back and look at those photos and go, God, what the fuck did I just post? I hate myself for it. This is not who I am. This is not the value that I want.
Those girls don't think that way. And that's what I was like, what? How do you not think that way? Like, how do you not worry that people, because I go, Paris, if I were you, I would post a picture and be like, hot or whatever. And be like, wait, you know, where you're just like, there's no joke here. I'm just hot. There's nothing like sincere. There's no fake, like, thank you to my makeup team. It's just like, I'm hot. Like, and I'm like, my biggest fear would be like people going like, Paris thinks she's so hot. And she was just like, yeah, that like probably happens and I don't care. Like I just, my brain has never worked that way. And I was like, we're just wired differently. But that to me is so embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
And I like admire that.
I have too many wires, I think, in my brain. I think I overanalyze and things that like other people wouldn't. Paris Hilton for, ipso facto, that she doesn't care. whereas I could pretend I don't care, but that's just more effort to actually cover up the caring that's still happening underneath the surface of it all.
Yes, at the bottom there's care, and there's like my biggest fear is that I picture like there's certain people I picture screenshotting me and sending it to their friends and having a text exchange about how ridiculous I am and making fun of me.
That's exactly what it is. I know a couple people in my life that will take this and make me feel like if I can imagine them looking at this photo, that's too much for me to post this photo.
I know, but she does that and the world mocks her for it. Like people will mock her and do the same thing. Like,
but that's part of her brand, I think.
But it is. And she can just...
Okay, I will say...
She doesn't care what people think about her. Or does she care so much?
If she's the greatest actress of all time, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, she could be Andy Kaufman everyone right now, and we don't know.
But like, when you put that much effort into your looks and like looking hot, do you care so much? Or putting that out there and being like, I don't care what they think, or if people think I think I'm cool, do you not care?
I think she doesn't know any other way.
Yeah.
I think I've only known how to be a tomboy trash monster. And so to put effort into
TBTM.
To be actually like putting money and value into my looks is unfamiliar to me. Whereas her dressing the way I would dress on a normal day is probably radically unfamiliar. And so therefore uncomfortable and like doesn't compute for her at all. At least that's the way I like to rationalize. Like, hey, to each their own. But I will say that in terms of you putting yourself out there in a sexy, fun, cool, admirable way, you did Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
And like talk about having to be in your actual body for that.
That was just an excuse to like take being sexy and like a show woman seriously.
Well,
and I didn't have to go, I'm a jokey. I got to like be sincere about this ridiculous thing.
But also,
for once in my life.
I listened to you on part of Joe Rogan's podcast talk about it, and I was like, I get that. I would never have said yes. So I give you so much respect for saying yes and doing something that is so wildly outside of your comfort zone. And when you were describing like, dancing is not what I'm built for, so I may as well just take a chance and do it. And you really like honestly did it. You didn't like come out as the jokey girl. Like you came out like fully in yourself and like feeling yourself. That I was like screaming at my TV the night that you first performed.
You were so sweet about it. Your support meant a lot to me.
But no, I see myself in that, and that's like very, very cool to be like, I'm gonna take this weird, arbitrary, cliche TV risk situation.
Yes,
and that show is so fucking intense.
Oh my God. It's the greatest thing I've...
Really?
I loved it so much, Grace.
Yeah.
Like, I'm dying to go back.
Well, I know that you're starting the fake campaign for the Loser series.
I'm dying to go back. It is sincere. I thought it was maybe going to wear off, like this feeling of like I went back in.
Right.
But I loved it so much. And my journey is not done with that show. I refuse.
Your talking head interviews are already so succinct.
I refuse. It isn't. I refuse to live in a world where I cannot go on the Dancing with the Stars again.
Yeah.
I don't want to, like, it makes me so, it feels like I suffered the loss of being kicked off that show and that journey ending.
Sure.
Like a death. Like I was like, I can't do this again.
Well, because
like, no.
I can't
It's so
imagine
fun.
the whirlwind that it is. So you don't get a chance to process it. And then when it's taken away from you, that you're like, I haven't even started the process being here. You can't take it away from me.
The first show, like I go home first. Like it just, first of all, I didn't think I was going to go far in the show. I've made that very clear a million times. And even when I signed up for it, I was like, the only thing, Grace, I was like, the only thing I want is to not get kicked off first. And there's just no way I will. Like, I will figure out a way to be entertaining enough that even if I'm the worst dancer on the show, which I wasn't, but even if I am, they'll want me around because I'll be fun.
Right. And you weren't the worst dancer.
And I was neither fun, I guess, nor a good dancer. And that's what crushed me.
But no, it's not that, because it's based on a voting system of people that are not your core demo.
Yeah.
So blame Middle America.
I will. I know it is based on that.
It's not your effort. It's not your talents. It's literally something that is ridiculously outside of your actual control.
It is. But even that, like realizing that whether it was the network that decided to let me go or it was
that's the
like
thing.
the
They
audience.
always put that asterisk that it's like producers have final say whenever the voting system
I don't
is.
even know if it's like that on that show because I really didn't look into the whole legality of it. But even no matter what it was, there was someone didn't want me around. And I did not appreciate it. But it did not feel good.
But I also think, just optimistically speaking, that show is so torturous on a human body. Because how many hours a day were you training?
I was so injured when I performed.
Yeah, no, you had like a full shoulder injury when you were like the day that you were supposed to perform,
It
right?
was so insane how injured I was. I look back and I'm like, oh my God. If I would have continued, I would have just numbed it out with pain stuff.
But that's what I mean. Then you'd have irreversible damage.
I would
be like, what's the value here?
It would have been bad.
How many hours a day were you training?
4
a day.
4 a day. And that was not enough. I was like, I need more. I want to be doing this full time. Like,
that's insane to me.
Because you need so many breaks during it. And towards the end, you're like, we can't even take breaks now. And you just need more and more time. And I was having to learn 3 dances by the time we went to this. Like I had already learned 2.5 dances. I got injured from working on my 3rd dance, which I was like, I didn't even need to learn that at all.
Jesus.
And I got like injured from like a dumb lift. Like these 2 guys just lifted me, and we were just like, it's always the dumbest thing where you get injured. Yeah. But like these 2 like hot Russian dudes on the side of me are supposed to like lift me, and I am not a dancer, so my dance partner Gleb was instructing them on how to lift me, and he didn't like. I don't know that you're supposed to like brace when I was just like, and so they just like rip my arm out of my socket. And then I was screwed. So yeah, but people are dancing on broken foots on that show. Like it is brutal.
It's intense.
But it was so fun to like just work a literal different muscle of like a physical feat. Like it was you're sporty.
Yeah, I like to run, but that's the thing. I'm so not coordinated in terms of rhythm in that way. I've tried to do a couple, like we've had choreographers come on shows with Mamrie and I and spend a half hour with me, and then we have to resign to, I'll be the one that is purposefully off rhythm in this dance, but it's really like I'm genuinely trying to pick up the numbers and the counts of everything, and I don't have that mind-body connection in that regard.
Me neither.
I went to like a Zumba fitness class one time, and I literally was like a scarecrow in the back of the room just being like, I'm ruining it for everyone else because I can't even do a 4 count. Like it is so...
It's humiliating, and that's the way I feel. I mean, Gleb was my partner.
Did you know that this was going to be your partner beforehand?
Sad. No.
Okay.
So I get there and I meet him, and I walk in the room and he's like, oh, this girl looks like I look like maybe I have some athletic ability.
Fit, yeah.
And like,
so you're like, okay.
Ballerina, maybe. Mm-hmm. And he said, he told me later on, like right away, he was like, oh dear. I think I've been the worst dancer he's ever been with. And it sucks. And like,
but it seemed like you guys had a good time together.
We really did have a good time. Yeah. It was just... Yeah, do you guys
keep in touch now?
We do. We're actually like working on something together because I loved that show. I loved everyone I met on. It was just like, when you work on a show and you just get close with everyone.
Well, it's also just such an intensive environment that you have no choice than to like just free fall into it and then feel like, whoa, I only have a few people in the world that have experienced as intense of a situation as me. So we have this very special connection about this thing.
And even the other stars in it, like just even going through that with them and meeting them, like I've made like lifelong friends. It really is. The show is as cliche as everything you hear.
I went to a taping of it the season before because they brought a bunch of social media influencers into the audience and they wouldn't let anyone use their phones except for us. And we sat right behind, what's the female judge?
Carrie Ann Anaba.
Yeah, my ex-boyfriend and I were sitting right behind her, and we decided that we were just going to look directly into camera and smile the whole time. And they came over and politely told us that we weren't allowed because we were getting tweets being like, Grace and Chester are right behind that judge, and they look like psychos staring directly down the lens of a camera. And then they slowly just started shifting the camera angle over.
Oh my God.
I got a great gram out of it, so I'll take it.
That's so great.
But it was so intense, even just being there, seeing how the whole operation worked, that I can't imagine.
Dude, when I got kicked off that show, like I could not get my life back together. Like it took me like
but also
to get my bearings. You're literally claw machine. So I got eliminated at 7 p.m. West Coast time, and I had to be on Good Morning America East Coast time the next morning. So you get eliminated at 7. I had to be in a car at 7:30. I didn't know I was being eliminated. Like I had maybe they go pack your bags just in case.
Yeah,
it's like when you go on a group date and everyone gets sent. Like not you, but like if
you're an MTV reality show and you watch them all pack their bags by the front door in case one of them gets eliminated
Boom.
tonight. Yeah.
Yes, I was supposed to have that prepared, and I didn't realize. And I had to have an outfit for Good Morning America. Like if I'm,
Jesus.
and so right before we go live, I was like kind of sitting around like thinking about like, could I go home tonight? Like no way.
And then you're like, don't think negative thoughts.
Wait, I'm going home tonight. Like,
oh my God,
this isn't looking good. And I'm texting my stylist being like, can you throw together an outfit? Like, I don't know what to do. So they threw something together and delivered. And that's all I went to New York with. I didn't have any other bags packed.
Insane.
I felt like claw machines. Like I felt like they just spit me back in New York. And then I woke up like off the jet and we had to go right to Good Morning America. We didn't sleep. And I was just like, what's happening? And then afterwards, and then my dance partner leaves and goes back to LA. And I'm just like in New York the next day. And I'm like, I don't have to dance for 4 hours today. What is my life? Like
what
it just
do now.
I didn't know the news was going on. I didn't know the news. Like the Kavanaugh trial happened. And I was just like,
you're in a bubble.
I was kind of hearing about that again and like
my
what happened
God.
there. Oh, I do believe women. Okay. like I didn't, I was out of everything. It was a bubble and my friends, I wasn't relating to my friends anymore. I was so upset about it. I was trying to watch the show and I was getting like PTSD because I'm like, I want to be there.
Yeah,
Those are my
watch?
friends.
My
and they're
people.
like, and I'm like tweeting at them like, don't forget me. Like I just loved it so much. But and it's still very a part of my life. Like I'm still friends with so many of the people and like I'm going to the Dancing with the Stars live tour next week. It's it finally comes to a close for me next week because they're coming to New York City and I'm going to like see them.
Oh, you're good.
From the audience.
Perform?
No, they're not gonna. They're not even gonna throw me up on stage for a couple.
Did you get a free ticket to go though?
Yes.
Okay,
Gleb got me in. Gleb is getting me in. Isn't that insane?
As long as you got that, as long as you're not
I'm
paying
dying.
a box office price to go see their last show.
And I would. I
would go with you.
It was so good.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we get back, I have so many more questions to ask you about just everything. We'll be right back with NIKKI GLASER on Not Too Deep.
Not too deep.
Guess what, Grace?
Is it happening again?
It's happening again. Our buddies are back.
Yay! Squarespace is sponsoring this episode of Not Too Deep.
Turn your dream into a reality with Squarespace.
They make it easier than ever to launch your passion project.
Whether you're looking to start a new business, showcase your work, publish content, sell products, and more, Squarespace is the tool for you.
They have beautiful templates created by world-class designers and the ability to customize just about anything with a few clicks. You can easily make a beautiful website all by yourself.
Squarespace's powerful e-commerce functionality lets you sell anything online. And analytics help you grow your site in real time.
And guess what? Everything is optimized for mobile right out of the box. There's nothing to patch or upgrade ever.
Buying domains is simple, and you'll get all the help you need with Squarespace's 24/7 award-winning customer support.
They empower millions of people, from designers, lawyers, artists, gamers, restaurants, gyms, jacks.
That's right. I use Squarespace, guys. It works great. I know I talk about them all the time.
It's our only talking point.
But I mean, it actually is a really great way to like make a website.
No, this is why we love them so much, because we genuinely, authentically use them, and they're very, very helpful.
So turn your great ideas into something real.
Head to squarespace.com/grace for a free trial.
And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code GRACE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Again, that's squarespace.com/grace, offer code GRACE.
Not too deep.
I am so excited.
Why is that?
Do you feel desperate and lonely?
How did you know?
It's my favorite two emotions. I also feel that way. That this episode of Not Too Deep is sponsored by something that will cure those feelings. It's OkCupid.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, it's the only dating app that finds you someone based on who you are and what you're into.
That's good, because you don't want to date somebody who's not into what you're not into.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Right? Screw
It's a
that.
waste of time.
Yeah, but OkCupid, the OkCupid dating app, asks you fun and meaningful questions that matter to you so you can be seen by the people who are going to be into you.
We're talking about super specific questions like, do you prefer to share food?
Yeah.
Are you close to your family? Do you like going clubbing? Does your family like going clubbing? Do you have a passport? I'd prefer not to answer the last one, but
Are you wanted by the FBI?
I mean, you can get super personal so that you see tons of answers that will eventually lead to great conversation and great dates with people who feel the same way you do.
Yeah, you can tell people about your favorite album, your last great trip, your favorite podcast,
That
perhaps.
is maybe the greatest conversation starter there ever was.
And then you can just let the love roll in on the OkCupid app.
If you're looking for a person to join you for a long walk on the beach or a short walk to the pool bar, they're waiting for you on the OkCupid app.
So start the new year by meeting someone who's into what you're into on the OkCupid app.
Download the free OkCupid app and find your next great date today. We're back with NIKKI GLASER. I think I saw when you got flown to the Today Show. Was it Today Show the night after?
Good Morning America.
Good Morning America. That you had to roast the hosts.
I didn't have to, but
you wanted to.
Well, I was preparing for them to say something. So the first night that I did Dancing with the Stars, the premiere, they gave me low scores. They were pretty mean to me, and it was just like out of nowhere, and it just felt like
pointed.
Why?
Yeah.
Like I just completed a dance. I'm not a good dancer. I never said I was, but like wasn't that kind of impressive a little bit? Do you have to be so mean the first night? And then so the next night I was like,
but do you think that they were on guard because you were the comedian coming in, that they were like produced to be a little bit sharper to you?
Maybe, yeah.
That they had to be like on guard that you might roast them, so they wanted to get out of the gate in front of you.
You're probably right, but I just wanted to be taken
trust
so
nothing on the reality
sweetly. Like
shows.
I was just trying to be as like Disney as possible because I wanted to follow the rules.
You were gracious to be there.
I was so excited to be there. I was like so amazed that they even asked me. Like I was just, it was a treat. So I wanted to play by their rules. I wasn't going to say anything that was like racy, which I accidentally did. And I didn't even mean to, even though I was trying to behave myself. But after they were mean to me on that judges table, and I was like, I need to roast them back. So I was like, tomorrow night when I know they're going to be mean to me again, because my second dance is the same dance as the first dance. It's a very, very similar. And they hated me the first night. I'm not going to get better the second night because I'm already so mad and in my head. And I don't even like the second dance as much as the first dance. So I'm not going to probably be as good. And so I performed the second dance and then they loved it. And I was like, okay, and now I can't roast them, but I think they caught wind that I was going to roast them, because if they would have been mean at all, they were like, that dance, last night the dance controlled you and tonight you controlled the dance. And I was just like, I just felt like, if you want to be totally honest, that dance that I just did was garbage. And we all know that it was. The first night I was like, okay, I got through it and there were some fun things that I did. The second night I was like, total garbage. Like that was, I know when I can dance, but like they knew if they hated my first dance, they hated the second dance. So I was like, you're being insincere right now. You're being nice because you know I'm about to go home because you trashed me last night. So you're not going to kick a horse when she's down. So you're being nice. And so I couldn't roast them, but I had all these jokes planned and I was lined up. So then when I got eliminated that night, and then I was like, so immediately it's the most humiliating thing that's ever happened to you, getting eliminated first from a reality show. I was just like staring at the dance floor, being like, Nikki and Gleb, Nikki and Gleb. I know he's going to say it. And he's like, Nikki and Gleb. And I was just like, this is humiliating. And there's like boys in the room that I like. And like, it was just like my ex-boyfriend was there watching me fail. My parents were there watching me fail. Like I just couldn't get past the first eliminated. It just felt like a loser. And then I just was like, then I got mad. So then afterwards I get my trailer and I'm like, it's bullshit. It's not fair. And I could have done this. And I'm like pacing around being a baby because you're so embarrassed that then you get angry.
Also, you're just emotionally raw at that point.
Yes. I was like, and I like, it was just, so I went through the whole spat of like, in front of my parents are in my trailer, my ex-boyfriend, my producers from my radio show, my Tom Takar, we're all piled in, and I walk in and they're all waiting for me because I had to go through the press line, the losers press line of being like,
that's the worst fucking thing. So it's like, let's just squeeze out every piece of terrible emotion that you could possibly have right now. Yeah. We just want to continuously break you down.
Yeah, and everyone having to hug everyone and be like, we're gonna miss you. And I'm like, you guys are all like not gonna think about me tomorrow.
This is a show. I'm a cog in a machine. Yes. And thank you for your fake sentiments.
Exactly. So then I walk into the trailer and I'm like, this isn't fair, and I have to like pack and I'm not ready to go. I don't even know what I'm wearing and I don't have my pillow and I don't have my pillow. I don't even have any Like, what am I gonna wash my face with? Like, they didn't even tell us. And I'm just like having this meltdown. And then I don't have a choice. I have to go to Good Morning America. So then I get in the car and Gleb is waiting for me, and he's like in his phone, just like kind of checked out because he's like done. He's kind of like, okay,
his competition is done too.
And he's kind of he's sad, but he's also like good. You know, like he's done this so many times that's when you finally, everyone is at a breaking point, even when the show starts.
Oh.
So by the end of it, it is like everyone is so tired all the time during the show. So when you finally get kicked off, there's a sense of relief. And Gleb's been through it so many times. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So he's already in this mode of like, it's fun. Now we can have fun. I can drink on the plane. Like, you know, it's just like very, very relaxed.
His sports
club.
season is done.
Yes. Yeah. And I get in the car and I'm just like really upset. And I hadn't smoked pot for like a month at that point. And I was like, and I needed it during the show. And I just did it because I couldn't remember dances if I was
being
high.
an athlete. Yeah.
I couldn't remember. My memory was crap. Yeah, I was like training.
Yeah.
So then I get in the car and I'm like, I have a vape. And I'm like, should I? And I'm like, should I keep being sober?
Break
and
the seal.
And then I was just like, I'm doing it. And then I went from being like, fuck this show, and like, I'm not even gonna sleep, and I have to do Good Morning America, I'm gonna look like old, and like, my hair's, I haven't even washed my hair in like 2 days, and they just expect us to go, like, I'm just feeling victimized, you know, where you just like get in this.
I've been in pouty baby mode a lot.
Yes, and like, no one's even looking out for me.
They're doing this to me.
Yes.
Someone help me.
No one's looking out for me. I'm alone. I feel overwhelmed, and I just can't do it anymore. Like, you're just that. So I went from that, and Gleb is not in the mood for that. So I already couldn't really voice that in the car, and I was just like kind of in my head, like, and then I smoked a little pot, and then I was just like, bitch, you have one last performance. You get to go on Good Morning Goddamn America tomorrow, and you get to have an interview alone with George Stephanopoulos and Gleb. Now I get to dance because I get to be interviewed, which I'm a pro at.
That's your sporting event.
Yeah, take a back seat, Gleb. Learn from the master.
Yeah,
so
I can form sentences.
Yeah. So then I started preparing that set. Like I was like, okay, I have one last dance. I'm gonna start writing jokes for that. So I just really like honed in on it, and I like wrote a bunch, and I just tried to like own it because I was like, I'm gonna spin this being the loser into a good thing.
The actual skill set that you are strongest at, to be like, this is the reason I was asked to be on this show, because I offer something different and this is what I'm good at.
Yes.
So I might not be good at dance, but I can see right through all of you. So here I come. Yeah.
And I did it in a way that was still respectful of the show because because like I said, I want back on, and I will never say a bad thing about that show. I really won't. I'm very careful. I honestly, I don't really have many bad things to say, but I do love that show and I respect it. But the judges, if I ever get back on, I will be mad, like, because now there's a beef. Like, they were not cool to me. They didn't like me. They got me off.
I hope this pushes forward the storyline that gets you back on the show, because I think it's a really interesting thing to bring back people that actually have
redemption.
A redemption series. Everyone loves an underdog. And everyone loves to see someone.
I had more in me. I really did. I got stuck with a bad opening dance. Like, salsa's not my strong. And I got injured. There were so many things, not to say that couldn't happen again, but I could go further.
But give her a second chance.
If I'm voted off the first on the losers season, though,
then you gotta retire.
I gotta step away.
I will text you and be like, don't. Oh my God. Leave, please leave.
I just got my period after I got the last time I got my period was on Dancing with the Stars 4 months ago. Before, like right when I started.
Are you pregnant?
No.
Okay.
I took so many pregnancy tests, Grace. I was like, can there be 18 false negatives? The last one I took was the day before I got my period, which was 4 months after my last period. So I was like, I'm either 4 months pregnant or
I've hurt my body to such a degree that
my friend goes, girl, you haven't gotten your period because you're still holding on to Dancing with the Stars. Like, you can't go back to your life. Like, let it go.
Let that egg
Let it go.
Shed that egg.
I finally let it go last week, but I was like, I'm holding on to that show. My body is like stuck.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, Mother Nature is the greatest, tell all of all time.
Yes.
Well, talking about roasting, that's become kind of like your MO kind of situation. Yeah. Do you like that that's part of like your brand now, or does it feel a little daunting to be like, I'm the person that roasts people and now I feel obligated to have to do this constantly?
Yeah, I'm not good at it off the cuff. Like I can think really mean things, but that doesn't mean that I should say the things. Like I don't have a joke wrapped around them yet.
Well, to me, yeah, it seems like a great skill to be able to wrap it up in like a nice bow about people. But it also feels a little daunting to be the person that people look to do that.
I'm good at roasting because I'm good at writing jokes and I'm good at working on writing jokes.
Sure.
And I'm good at organizing a set and I'm good at, and I have a dark side. That's why I'm good at roasting. and I perform live enough that I can like get in a situation where you can't really prepare for a roast like that. Like you can't create those elements beforehand to like rehearse. So it's something you have to be very practiced for. Like I've been on stage so many times in live situations that I can nail it, but I'm not like a naturally like a roasty person. Like Jeff Ross is just so quick.
You're not a zinger.
Exactly. But you're right. I get asked all the time, like when I did Good Morning America to announce the Dancing with the Stars cast, we get to Good Morning America early in the morning. The whole cast is there. All the dancers it's chaos. And one of the producers comes up to me like 10 minutes before we go live. Yeah. And they're like, your question, because you're all going to get a question, every person, every
specific
star.
question. Yeah.
Yours is going to be, how are you going to roast the judges this year? And what are you going to say?
Oh God.
And I was like, guys, no, I can't.
Do that off the cuff.
And they're like, well, we can't change the question. It's in the prompter. And I was like, well, I don't have an answer to this because I don't want to be mean to the judges because first of all, I owe them. Like, I don't want to like come off, and that's not who I am at all. Like, I'm not a roast. And so it was like panic time. And at the very last minute, I was like, okay, I can't roast the judges, but I can go after like Tom Bergeron. So I had pulled up a picture of Tom Bergeron. Because I was like, I know he can take it. I'm familiar with him enough. Yeah. And he's like a funny guy. So I'm like looking at a picture of him just 10 minutes before being like, what does he look like? What does he look like? And I'm like, the makeup guy goes, he kind of looks like Dustin Hoffman. And I was like, oh, you are brilliant. He does look like, okay, he looks like a low rent Dustin Hoffman, but that's not the joke. What is the joke? Like there's gotta be a joke. So I'm scrambling just like, Dustin Hoffman meets blah, blah, blah. Dustin Hoffman, what is the, and I said, he looks like a Just for Men, like the box of Just for Men. Like I was like, oh, there's a Just for Men joke there. Like Dustin Hoffman. And then I went up to Bobby Bones, another guy on the show that's like a comedy guy. And I walked up to him and I was like, and I walked up to a couple of them and I'm like, what, Dustin Hoffman? And he was like Men's Warehouse or like, Men's Warehouse, Dustin Hoffman. I was like, yes. And then I went out there and like was able, but it was just it was the last minute combining the pieces to come up with a roast joke. But that's what they do. They always think are like, can you just roast us real quick? And I'm like, if you give me like 2 weeks to write jokes.
Yeah, I workshop them and like bring back like final drafts. Yeah,
yes,
sure.
That's when I can do it. But yeah, I don't like that.
Do you get that on the road a lot? Because you've been on the road like crazy lately, right?
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, I mentioned earlier, I'm obsessed with your Instagram story.
Yeah.
It's one of the most well-curated Instagram stories that I follow.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
I don't know how you do it all day. I watch yours and I'm just like, I take one selfie and I go, oh, this doesn't work. And then I go, at the end of the day, well, really fucked up another day of creating content for the internet. But yours is so like, I don't know where you're finding
manic
everything
at times. Like
it's
it can just be some, like yesterday I didn't do any of it. And I was like, why was yesterday? Like, what did I do? And I was like, oh, I had like friends yesterday.
I had human interaction.
Yeah, I was like more like present with my life yesterday and I wasn't depressed or like generally when I'm depressed, I can't post. But like, yeah, I just at night I collect things on Reddit, like interesting screenshots of things.
Reddit's the one thing I don't check into as much.
It's like my little treat at the end of the day. Like I've been on Reddit for like 5 years, so I follow ones that I'm interested in, and like I get to check it at the end of the day, and then I screenshot things that I'm like, oh, maybe I'll show people that. So I have like a little like folder of that I'll just sometimes dump. But like in terms of like, it's just so much easier to post on your story than it is a real post. Like you just feel like if someone's watching it, they're choosing to watch it. I'm not just putting it in their face. So I feel a little less guilty about
There's no pressure.
It's like I can be like vain and be like talking into my phone, just like doing a story that is just so self-serving.
Yeah.
Because I rationalize that anyone watching it is choosing to watch it. Yeah. And whereas on the feed, like sometimes you're just like, I don't want to see that. But like stories, someone's choosing to put themselves through this.
Oh no. So and I like that you unabashedly talk about how any comedian that tells you their show is sold out is just actually bragging.
Yes.
And I love that.
Bragging
was just like, yes.
It's all a brag now. Like when I want to brag, I'm just like, I'm bragging.
Yeah.
boys, because that's how you let people know that you're killing it. Because when people go, yeah, that girl's killing it, and I go, why do you know that? Why do you think that? And then I find out it's because they're her Instagram. Yeah. It's like, well, she's showing you that she's killing it.
Yeah. No, I think that's the really fun, interesting thing is to kind of unabashedly play that game. Even it's not even playing a game. It's just being like, this is what I'm doing.
I'm doing something very cool, or I look really pretty in this picture, and it just so happens to be Father's Day, and my dad's in it too.
But you have a balance because you'll post like a very hot photo, and then you'll post post running after 2 hours.
Like so disgusting. And then I feel like I don't want to mislead anyone because I do use my Instagram to like attract men. You know, like guys. Sure. When you posting on your story, you're like, you're just making content for your crush.
Yeah.
Like one of my friends said that recently. And I was like, you're so right.
That's all it is.
That's so
literally all it is. Oh no, that's all it is. No,
it is.
That's exactly what it is.
There's no.
Dang, it's not for my mom. It's not for my friends. I could give a shit if my friends watch my Instagram.
I'm always like, why are you even watching this? I'm flipping up, looking for the guy's name.
Yeah, I'm like,
and then when I see it, it's just like a hit of heroin.
Oh, literally. So I'm like, all right, now I can go back to 20 minutes of kind of restful nothing.
Yeah. But it's so true. Instagram stories are just for crushes. They're just for crushes. And I realized it the other day, I'm like, you're right. It is so funny to me that I'll have 20,000 people watch something that I post, and all I care about is one person.
Yeah.
And we're all like, I
got really mad at Instagram and then very excited when they switched it over to you can see whoever you're following watches your story all day instead of just in that moment when you go back and check your story, which they used to do.
Wait, they used to tell you what?
They used to show you, like, here's the top. If people that you're following are watching your story, if you go back and check your story in that moment, if they've just recently checked it, it'll tell you like, here's this person that just watched your story.
That just watched.
And so you had to catch it in the moment of the person that you want to watch your story, watching your story. And now you can actually kind of sit back and like go back and check it later and they'll show you all that. That was a great move, Instagram. Thank you so much.
That is such a good move. Right. Like you would have to be there for it.
Yeah, that you just like continuously check.
But now they bump them up to the top to let you know. Sometimes I train Instagram. I'm like, maybe he is watching this, but Instagram doesn't know I like him. So they don't know to show me at the top.
Right.
So I'll go to his page to be like, Instagram, hey, I have a crush on him. Learn the algorithm. I'll say his name a bunch, like so it just is listening.
Learn my personal algorithm.
Show me him at the top. Don't make me scroll and look for his name like a fool.
Like a desperate dummy. No.
I have things to do.
Okay, what's happening this year for you?
I'm gonna shoot a Netflix special.
That's
so
awesome.
That's why I'm on the road so much. It's just like building that and getting that going.
Where and then, do you get to choose where you shoot it?
Yeah, everything. I think I'm doing it in LA because I just want to put. It's cheaper to do things here, and I just want to like make it really cool. And so budget wise, I'm just like, okay, let's do everything is cheap, and then like other stuff we do is super cool.
Cool.
And I'm excited about it because I haven't put out one in a really long time, and that'll be and just like a Netflix special. It's like it's the thing to do. It's like it changes your life. There's
so many. The world of stand up is so insane to me because now there's like half-hour specials, hour specials, 15-minute specials, and it's just like
I'm doing an hour and I'm doing a 3.5-minute special too.
Is that real? Or is that a joke? I was like, honestly, that could be a thing. I have no fucking clue.
I am doing one of their 3.5 minutes.
I would, and it's for Hulu. Got it. It's great. Everyone is competing against everyone else. Okay, we're take one more break, and then we have a bunch of Twitter questions for you. If you would be so obliged,
I would love it.
The internet has requests for answers, so we'll be right back with more Nikki Glaser on Not Too Deep.
Not too deep.
This episode of Not Too Deep is brought to you by, guess what? MeUndies. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Rather than spending all that money going out to fancy restaurants, why not just hang out in your underwear, courtesy of MeUndies? My mom is really proud of me for saying that to a bunch of strangers listening to my podcast. Made from the coveted micromodal fabric, which is 3 times softer than cotton, MeUndies genuinely feels like heaven against your skin. Men and women can each choose from 4 different cuts, all of which are available in classic colors and adventurous prints, including new V-Day prints, which release every Tuesday. But why stop there? This year, MeUndies is launching their V-Day prints in, guess what? Lounge pants and onesies, y'all. Both are made from the same micromodal fabric as their undies, and I will tell you, they do feel like heaven against your skin. I was agnostic before I tried them, and now I'm fully subscribed to the Church of MeUndies. They have a great offer for you, our beautiful listeners. First-time purchasers get 15% off and free shipping when you order MeUndies. It's a no-brainer. Get 15% off the most comfortable undies you will ever put on, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee when you go to MeUndies.com/grace. That's MeUndies.com/grace. Hey, we're back with NIKKI GLASER. Not too deep. Okay, we're going to get into some Twitter questions. Before we do, I'm going to ask you again the 2 questions I ask every guest that comes on the podcast. And the first is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Oh, God.
I mean,
Do I say the obvious? I mean, like, oh, not that obvious. No, he'd probably like it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Ooh, is there someone? I mean, probably Trump.
Yeah. I mean, think that's
it's just I just like his face comes on at the gym and I just have to go like this. Like I just don't want to see it. So probably him.
I'm with you. The other question I ask every guest is to tell us your worst pants shitting story or close call, but you can only use 3 words or small phrases. So mine is college, jogging, front lawn.
Okay. When was the last time? There's been like several times.
It honestly makes me really proud of you in an odd way.
I mean, it was like mid-August 2018.
That's the best description of one of these close calls / pants shitting stories I've ever heard. It's just an actual date and time.
Too incredibly recent.
Okay, let's go into some Twitter questions. Someone says, I love Not Safe on Comedy Central. Is there a segment that missed making it to the show? Which, for people that don't know, Not Safe was your show on Comedy Central that was centered around sex, basically.
Yeah, sex and dating, but mostly sex. Yeah, and one thing we did that we planned on airing but never aired because we got canceled, but we had some stuff like banked was I took a blowjob class with my mom.
Whoa.
At the Hustler shop in Hollywood, and it was weird and funny, and I
mean,
I'm dying for that footage.
Yeah, you don't get it back?
I think it's just like probably like gone. I don't know where it is, but like it was a weird day. I put myself in situations on that show that I'm like, why did you do that?
I mean, the show was so wonderfully intense.
Yeah, you were on it. You were great on it.
I was so overwhelmed by it.
I know.
I was just like a deer in headlights.
Talk about
like,
intensity.
I should have like maybe done some research before I got here.
No,
also, I was going through a recent breakup, and the guy that I was on the show with was friends with my ex, and I was just like,
oh dear.
I would like to not talk about relationships.
Because this is the last thing we can talk about. Oh God.
No, but it was
no.
But you guys put together.
We were so happy to have you on that show.
It was a great team, a great system.
Yeah,
how did you approach your mom with that segment idea?
I was just like, Mom, you have to like do this thing.
And she's a supportive mother.
Yeah, I'm like, I like pay for it. You know, I'm gonna like pay for your life, the rest of your life. So just like help me out here.
Are there any things that your parents comment on that they're like, Nikki, please don't ever do that again, or we wish you didn't do that? Or
no,
do they just keep it to
said
themselves?
later on, like when we were talking about things we've said on shows and podcasts before, like there are things that I've said about my mom that are like fresh wounds from like a therapy session, and then I like lash out on like air and I say something that I'm like, because my mom didn't do this as a kid, and I'm like, that's not for everyone to know, Nikki, and it's not even for your mom to think about you thinking about like it's just mean, and I've regretted things like that, but and so there have been times like that with her for sure, where she's like, can you not, that hurt me in retrospect, and I'm like, I was such a jerk, like I just said whatever to anyone. I was being
selfish like in that moment with my feelings.
Yeah, and now I've learned like I can apologize and like own it and be like, yeah, I was not a good person then.
No,
sorry.
I think that's great. Yeah. I mean, it still seems like you have a great relationship with your parents.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm lucky.
This is pointed. Someone says, how the hell does she deal with Tom every single day? He's bland and boring. Need to know her secret.
Let's not answer that one because I couldn't disagree more with that person who just doesn't seem to like someone who is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. And I chose him for my co-host and he's
also,
amazing.
They clearly care enough to make a comment
exactly.
about this person.
That person knows that Tom, I'm guessing, and is just trying to make him sad because no one's ever thought Tom's not funny.
No, that's your co-host on
on You Up.
Yeah. Since the iconic roast of Ann Coulter, what other political figures would you like to roast like a hot dog on a grill?
I don't care. No political figures. I don't want to do. I would
exhausting.
never like Michelle Wolf doing the Correspondence Dinner, like roasting those people who don't have senses of humor about themselves. Which already like Bruce Willis and Rob Lowe, like the people I've roasted, are already take themselves pretty seriously.
Yeah,
and that's part of the joke of it. But that politically, no, there's no winning that.
I also feel like
she's so
Twitter's just an open roast 24 hours a day of political people that it just feels like. What are you going to say that no one's ever said before online about this person?
I thought like roast would be dead after Michelle Wolf. Like how everyone got so offended by how, and she was so great. Like I just thought that was like, oh, they're over. Now, if they can't take those jokes, it's over. Yeah. How am I supposed to go up and do like the
actually
brutal
like,
jokes?
Yeah,
because she was playing by their rules and she did a good job. So, but I was surprised that they even did another roast after that. So, but yeah.
Is there anyone that you would want to roast you?
No. No, it doesn't feel good.
That's how I feel in life too.
It doesn't feel good. Like I went into the roast being like, oh, I don't mind. Like I can handle whatever they say. I didn't even think about it. And then you get called like ugly a couple times in specific ways that you're just like, oh, they see it.
Oh, right, because I forget that the roast is roasting everyone as well as like the main person.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, I know I see that when I look in the mirror. I didn't know anyone else saw it, and I didn't think that. And then you just think about a writer's room just staring at a picture of your face, because that's literally what they do is they put your face up and then they just look all day. Well, she kind of looks like Owen Wilson if he were more masculine, like whatever they're like pitching, and you're just like, oh my God. And then so there's after the residually after the roast, like everyone kind of rolled their eyes about Sarah Silverman saying that she had a hard time at the roast of, I forget who it was, Justin Bieber, James Franco. And she was like, they called her old and she was like, it felt bad. And everyone was like, wah, wah. But it really does hurt.
It's actually,
to be like called things that you're like, I didn't think that I was that, but now I guess I am. Yeah. Because everyone's laughing.
And it's one thing to read it in like a YouTube comment consistently, but to hear an actual voice say it to your face.
And then a room of people erupt in laughter being like, we see it too.
We support this comment. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know what's your favorite thing to do when visiting St. Louis?
I like,
that's where you're from, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do is see my nephew and my dogs that now live at home with my parents. That's my, and I just
because you had 2 dogs and you gave them.
I gave my dogs away. Yeah. To my parents and my sister.
That's honestly the most responsible thing you could do.
It was hard to do.
That's on the road constantly.
It was just like, I wanted to have dogs forever, and I thought it would be really hard to get rid of them. Then they were gone. And I was like, I got my life back.
I've never felt better.
I honestly was like, I don't think I should have dogs.
Do they, when you come back and visit them, is there a sense of weirdness, or are they like, she's back from war?
No, they forget. They don't forget who I am, but I am not their owner anymore. It's been too long. It's been since June and it's January now. So it's been 7 months of them not living with me. And so one of them, my OG, like my first dog that we got through it and we traveled all along together. He is like a teenager who's just like, you left me, mom. Like he's like rebellious and not listening to me. And he's like kind of fat now because he doesn't get enough exercise. And he's just like a little punk. He's just, shut up, mom. And like has no respect for me. None. And where he used to respect me, he would do anything I said. So now we're both like not getting along. I'm kind of over it. But then my dog, Marion, who I got later, is now living with my parents. And she still like loves me and sleeps with me and stuff when I come home. And it feels amazing. But
that's great.
Luigi is long gone. I lost him.
Oh, yeah. Because was that the one that you used to travel with on the road? You said? Yeah.
And he was my baby. I feel like a mom who's like, I don't know what happened to him. He got involved with drugs. And I lost him. And I used to be his everything. He would cuddle with me for hours. Like, I understand that now. You have to let him go.
Yeah. If you love something, you gotta let it go.
I had this dog for 2 years and I'm acting like we had a lifetime together.
Someone wants to know, you still friends with Sarah Schaefer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, because I first met you when you guys were doing your MTV show together.
Yes, and you came on it. That was so much fun.
That was like my first TV thing ever.
That's so awesome.
It was super fun. I just was like, these girls are doing something really fucking cool.
Yeah,
and this was super fun.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was the Nikki and Sarah show, right?
Yeah, Nikki and Sarah live on MTV. Yeah, we did 2 seasons of it. It was like I don't know what it was, a variety show. Like we did.
Like, pop culture variety, I guess.
Yeah, we did sketch. We did a lot of man on the street stuff. We did interviews and we did like kind of weekend update style jokes at the top.
Oh, yeah, you guys got surprised with...
Justin Timberlake surprised us. Yeah, we thought we were going to Vegas to interview Kesha and we were waiting in this room and she's late and we're like, we had already interviewed her. We were like, this isn't even like that big of a deal. Like it was still Kesha, so we like cared obviously, but and then we're just sitting there and she was late and I was like, I can't believe Kesha, like I still have a little grudge with her because she was so late that day that she wasn't booked and they were lying to us. So sorry, Kesha, MTV sullied you in my mind forever. But then Justin Timberlake walked in and we were just like, what is happening? And it was because that's like kind of who brought us together because we met at a party and we were talking about Justin Timberlake.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was
so
the
he was
story?
Like, yeah,
that's very sweet.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know, and I think this can relate to Dancing with the Stars, what is a good way to get yourself to do something that you're totally afraid to do?
Just think about what's the worst that can happen. And then it's probably going to be better than that. But I will say that what happened to me on Dancing with the Stars was the worst that could happen. Like it was. And that's what I learned from it is that oftentimes when you take a risk, the worst thing that can happen will not happen. It's more than likely it won't happen, like the worst thing. But then sometimes it does. And that was what my realization was. It's like, this was supposed to be the worst outcome that I imagined that isn't supposed to happen, and it did. And even when it does, you still are okay. Yeah. No one cares and no one thinks about you as much as you think about yourself. So just take a chance and you only have one life to live. I don't know, all these stupid platitudes, but it's all that stuff combined.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you have a story.
Yes, I got a story and I was doing something. I would have regretted not doing it. I would have always been like, I can't believe I could have done Dancing with the Stars and I didn't. And I just imagine myself in the future being a woman who's okay enough with herself physically and like emotionally to be like, you Dancing with the Stars. That's fun. Like if I'm going to be there eventually and that's the kind of woman I want to be, why not do it now? Yeah.
No. And also, do you think that this has opened you up to now when new things come your way, you're way more open-minded about them?
I can do anything.
That's what I mean.
I literally can do anything because that show was my biggest fear.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing I can't do. If I can do Dancing, I did American Ninja Warrior too.
You
I
did?
Celebrity American Ninja Warrior.
When was this?
They asked me like the day before because they had a dropout and I was like, okay. So I did it because I was the same thing. I was like, I'm going to be terrible at this.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the worst. And I was the worst. I got really injured. It was like the same with Dancing with the Stars. It was the same.
Was it before or after Dancing with the Stars?
It was before. It was a year and a half before. I did American Ninja Warrior.
I would do that show, but I would not do Dancing with the Stars.
Oh my God. It was so bad. So I did the worst by far on American Ninja Warrior. I mean, I was the worst. And it was but I wanted to quit. I got there and I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm not doing this. I'm quitting. Yeah. And I only signed on to it a couple days ago. So it's not like they really, and they're like, it's for charity. And I'm like, God, fine, I'll do it. Like and so I did it and I got so injured. It was great because that was like my first time foray into doing something that was so out of my comfort zone.
And on like a reality TV program, game show situation.
Trying to get in with the networks being like, I can hang with you guys and just taking risks and having a showing. And, but then I really felt like I gave a speech like at I was with all the cast of Dancing with the Stars, most of the cast, the first night that the night before Good Morning America when we announced it, we all like a lot of us went to this dinner afterwards and we were all just kind of like making like announcements, having a great time. And I was like, I just want to say that because of tomorrow's announcement, doing the show, like I literally can do anything now. Like, and I meant in the moment, I was like, I could have a threesome. Like I could finally have a threesome. I've always been scared of having a threesome, and I know that that's not the next logical step. But like I want the story, because that's what. There's no better story than a threesome. Like sex stories are the best stories.
Yeah.
And a threesome story, it's a question that gets asked a lot, and I'm always like, never had a threesome. Moving on to the next question. I want one, and I don't really want one. It scares me, like because
you can manifest it.
But it's not even like. I could have one. I could have one.
It's more attainable now.
I could have one tonight. You know what I mean? But I'm scared to have one. But if it ever presents itself, if ABC calls and says we're doing a new show,
doing Ultimate Ninja Threesome,
yeah,
we'd love to have you on it, please.
Oh my God, yes. I'll do anything. Like I can do anything now. All the things that scare me that I'm like, yeah, maybe I could do a threesome someday, but I wouldn't. Now I'm like, oh, I'll do it when they come calling.
What doesn't kill you makes you available for a threesome.
I don't know why. That's like my biggest fear, but also like I want to, but I'm scared.
So it's dancing and a threesome.
Honestly,
are the two things.
Yes.
Well, I think this year you can accomplish everything and anything you put your mind to.
We'll see.
We've reached the end of the podcast, Nikki. Thank you for being here. But before you go, we give everyone a personalized fortune cookie for just making time for us.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Of course, I honestly do not remember at all what the fortune is.
Okay. Your throwbacks are very inspirational and remind us to be more vulnerable on platforms that condition us to put our fake best foot forward. You were also the first person to receive a sincere fortune. We feel gross now. Yeah, that was so sincere. That's so nice.
So meaningful.
I'm going to keep this.
Nikki, where can people find you if they don't know? Where can they see you coming up?
I have a daily morning show on Sirius Radio. So if you have Sirius or a rental car, that's you can listen to me on there. Monday through Thursday, 10 to 12 Eastern. But we also have a podcast of the Sirius show that's like the best of clips that comes out every Friday. It's called the You Up Podcast.
It's really fun. You go through like every day and you give like a little segment that was like the most funny anecdote from each day. It's really great.
Each day. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then at NIKKI GLASER on all socials. And then I'm on tour right now, and you can find all my dates at nikkiglaser.com.
Sweet. And also follow our Instagram story because it's one for the
Thank you for
the
that.
books. Yeah.
That means a lot to me.
I love it so much. So don't mind if I'm the one that's stalking more than your crush.
I'm so flattered you watch. I can't even stand it.
I love it. Thank you for being here, Nikki.
Thank you,
see
Grace.
you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep. Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated, producer and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer and editor, Melissa D. Mons.
Writing by Diane Kang. Post-production sound by Chris Henry.
And an extra special thanks to Flula for the theme music.